We had a little bit of a scare with our new baby. If you've been watching my videos, you saw us pull this baby here about a week ago, I guess now, and everything went fine with it, and we got it off of its mother's milk and on the powdered milk, and as usual, that shift in feed, it got pretty sick, and we brought it out of it. It's fine now, but it kind of got me to thinking that maybe I should do a video on a few tips that I can give you if you're not experienced in raising cattle or baby calves. A few things that I can tell you that might help you if you decide to go that route. Something that we've learned over years, and my dad was a licensed veterinarian for years, and that was a huge help to us there on the dairy, and that's kind of how we've learned a lot of what we do. So and what we do is pretty simple, and most of the time it works just fine without any further treatment. Now I'm going to basically talk about one kind of calf today. There are really two different kinds of calves out there. One of them is a farm-raised calf, which is what I have here, that was born here, had 3 to 4 days of colostrum, and then switched over to medicated powdered milk. And the other is a calf off of the market. Now we're not going to really talk much about the calves coming off of market because that's a totally different animal. And my advice to you would be, if you go to market to buy your calf and you're not experienced in raising calves, get a veterinarian involved immediately, because there's a lot of different things that a cow can pick up at the market, and they require some pretty tough treatment to get some of those things fixed. So if you're talking about going to market, that's what you're thinking you're wanting to do, and buy a calf, you're going to be ahead just to go ahead and get a veterinarian to your place immediately and start a vaccination program to fight some of the things that a lot of times they'll bring home with them. But today we're going to talk about baby calves that come off of the farm and a few of the common mistakes that people make. Probably the most common mistake, and I'm probably a little bit guilty of that myself here with this little calf, is overfeeding. The most important thing you can do is keep that little baby calf hungry, and you got to be sure that you get 3 to 4 days of colostrum in it, of its mother's milk, to build up its immune system. And then the switch over to the powdered milk is really where the trick is at, and the first 2 or 3 days of that is critical. And I followed the directions on the bag to a T, and come to find out that was too rich, and my calf scoured, bloated, and was very, very sick for the first 24 hours probably. Well, it was actually the day after that I started, so it was fine the first day. The second day it ate good, and then that third morning I come out here and it was really sick. I mean, the night before it ate perfect, and then that next morning it was really sick, laying with its head flat out, mouth cold. So I'll tell you what I did about that here in a minute, but I just wanted to make clear, I believe that when you're transitioning from the mother's milk over to powdered milk, you're better off to go a little bit weak on that solution for a few days to get that calf through that transition. They can get something that's called overeating disease and bacteria in their stomach, and it can kill them within 24 hours. So you've got to really be careful about how you make that transition. So the bag called for 3 cups of powder in 2 quarts of water, and that's exactly what I did. They're small cups, you know, they're just little cups, so I thought it would be fine. And that was too rich for that sudden change from mother's milk to powdered milk. So after we got it well, then I've moved it back to 2 cups, and I'm going to keep it at 2 cups. That keeps it really good and hungry. It's waiting at the gate on me now, and after we get it 2 or 3 days like that, then I'll bump it back up to the 3 cups that is recommended. But the way that we fix this calf, and it really works well, and it's what we've done for years with our other baby calves down at the dairy, is we use liquamycin or LA200. That can be purchased at Tractor Supply and maybe Rural King. We do 4.5 to 5 cc's. I think the bottle calls for subcutaneous, which is under the skin, but we usually give it intramuscular. So we'll usually give it in the hip, right in the back of the back leg there, actually, right in the muscle, and it seems to work just fine. Now it is hot. It's not comfortable for them when you give them that shot. It burns them a little bit, kind of wakes them up. They'll stand up and lay down, stand up and lay down for a while. But it lasts for 3 days. So you give them one shot and you're done. And almost every time that will fix it. But we also will add Sulmet boluses. And I'm sure they can be purchased at any of your local feed stores as well. They just come in a tablet, and you'll need to buy a little gun that you can just put down their throat and give them 2 of those if they're around 100 pounds. So we kind of incorporate the Sulmet boluses with the LA200, and within 24 hours this baby went from laying flat out to eating, and eating good. So it worked well on her, and I've seen it work time and time again, and it's simple and it's cheap. If that doesn't fix it, then you've got a problem. So that's when I would involve a veterinarian as well. But usually you'll see a pretty good result within 24 hours of that shot and those boluses. So we basically, we get them on that powdered milk. They get to eating that good. We feed them twice a day, 2 quarts of water, about as hot, mix it about as hot as you can stand to touch, and by the time you put the milk in it to get it to the calf, it's usually about the right temperature for the calf, and it also helps it to mix up good. And we'll feed that twice a day. I try to spread it out as much as I can, as close as I can to 12 hours apart, and we'll do that for about 8 weeks, and then after those 8 weeks it's ready to wean off on the grain. We incorporate grain to that calf, a good calf starter grain, as early as we can. Within the next few days I'll put grain in front of this calf, and it will pick around in that and learn to eat grain, and be eating it really well by the time you're ready to wean it. And I also put a good soft grass hay with it. So that's just some of the things that we do. A lot of times we won't put water in with a calf as long as it's on that bottle. Sometimes they can start drinking water and drink a little bit too much, and it'll give them the scours. So a lot of times they'll just get the bottle of milk. Once I see that they're big enough, they're eating enough grain, then sometimes I will add some water for them. But you'll have to watch them if you do that, because they'll fill up on water a lot of times, and it'll scour them. So that's just a few tips that we do here on our dairy and have done for years that work for us. And I just thought I'd pass that along. If you're thinking about raising a baby calf, I hope that will help you. So appreciate y'all watching. We'll catch up with you on the next video.